This 2025 money trend is a trap you don't see coming. Right now, millions of people think they're being smart with their money. They're following the hottest financial trend of 2025, posting about it on social media, feeling proud of their discipline. But what if I told you this trend is actually destroying their financial future? What if the very thing they think is saving them is quietly setting them up for decades of financial struggle? Welcome to the revenge saving trap, and it's about to ruin more lives than any economic crash ever could. Here's what's happening. Gen Z and millennials are embracing something called revenge saving. After years of overspending, inflation anxiety, and economic uncertainty, they're swinging the pendulum hard in the opposite direction. They're cutting every expense, doing extreme no-buy challenges, and stuffing cash into high-yield savings accounts like their lives depend on it. The hashtags are trending. The TikToks are viral. Everyone's talking about their emergency funds. But here's the terrifying truth nobody wants to admit. This isn't financial wisdom. It's financial quicksand disguised as progress. And while millions celebrate their growing bank balances, they're actually moving further away from real wealth with every dollar they save. The wealthy aren't revenge saving. They never have. They know something that the masses don't. And that knowledge is worth more than all the cash sitting in those savings accounts combined. Let me paint you a picture of what revenge saving actually looks like. Sarah, a 28-year-old marketing manager, spent 2024 living paycheck to paycheck. She had student loans, credit card debt, and a shopping habit that got worse every time she felt stressed about money. Sound familiar? Then 2025 hit, and with it came a wave of financial anxiety that changed everything. Inflation fears, job market uncertainty, and endless social media content about economic collapse finally broke through her spending patterns. Sarah discovered revenge saving through a viral TikTok. The concept was simple and seductive. Make up for past financial mistakes by being extremely aggressive about saving money. Cut every non-essential expense. Do a 6-month no-buy challenge. Put every spare dollar into the highest yield savings account you can find. Build that emergency fund like your life depends on it. Sarah was hooked immediately. The psychology was perfect. She felt guilty about her past overspending, anxious about her financial future, and desperate for some sense of control. Revenge saving gave her all three. Within 3 months, she had saved more money than ever before. She posted about it. She got likes. She felt proud. She felt secure. She felt smart. But Sarah was walking straight into a trap that would cost her hundreds of thousands of dollars over her lifetime. Because revenge saving isn't really about building wealth. It's about managing emotions, and emotions make terrible financial advisors. Here's what Sarah didn't understand. While she was celebrating her growing savings account, inflation was quietly eating away at her purchasing power. That money sitting in her high-yield savings account, earning maybe 4 or 5%, was losing real value every single day. But it felt safe, so she kept adding to it. She felt like she was winning, so she kept playing the same game. Meanwhile, the stock market was doing what it always does over time. Growing, compounding, creating real wealth for people who understood the difference between saving and investing. But Sarah wasn't investing. She was too busy feeling good about her revenge saving to notice that every dollar she saved was a dollar that wasn't working for her. The wealthy understand something that revenge savers don't. Cash is not wealth. Cash is a tool. And like any tool, it's only valuable when it's being used for its intended purpose. The wealthy keep some cash for emergencies, but they don't hoard it. They don't celebrate it. They don't build their entire financial strategy around accumulating it, because they know that cash without compound growth is just an illusion of security. But the revenge-saving trap goes deeper than missing investment returns. It's actually rewiring people's brains to think about money in ways that guarantee long-term financial struggle. When you make saving the goal instead of wealth building, you start making decisions based on scarcity instead of abundance. You start optimizing for safety instead of growth. You start playing defense instead of offense. This mindset shift is devastating because it creates a psychological ceiling on your financial potential. When your primary financial emotion is fear, when your primary financial goal is security, when your primary financial strategy is hoarding, you've already lost the wealth-building game. The wealthy don't think about money this way. They understand that real financial security comes from assets that grow, not cash that sits. Let me show you exactly how the revenge-saving trap plays out. It starts with what feels like success. Your savings account grows. You feel disciplined. You feel like you're finally taking control. This positive reinforcement keeps you in the saving phase much longer than you should be. But emotions are temporary, and extreme behaviors are unsustainable. Phase 2 is where the trap closes. Saving aggressively requires cutting expenses aggressively, and that means saying no to everything. No restaurants, no travel, no entertainment, no fun. This works for a while because the goal feels important. But eventually, your brain rebels. You feel deprived. You resent your budget. You crave the things you've been denying yourself. Phase 3 is the rebound, and it's always more destructive than the original problem. When people finally break their revenge-saving streak, they don't just return to old spending habits. They overcorrect. They binge spend. They blow through months of savings in weeks. They feel guilty. They feel like failures. And the cycle starts all over again. But here's the most insidious part. Even when revenge savers avoid the rebound, even when they maintain discipline for years, they're still losing. Because while they're sitting on piles of cash, inflation is eroding their purchasing power. The stock market is creating wealth for investors, and time is running out on their compound growth potential. The wealthy approach money completely differently. They don't revenge save. They forward save. They don't make emotional decisions based on past mistakes. They make logical decisions based on future goals. They don't hoard cash out of fear. They deploy capital for growth. They don't optimize for feeling safe. They optimize for getting wealthy. Here's how the wealthy actually handle money. First, they automate everything. They don't rely on willpower or discipline to manage their money. They set up systems that make the right financial decisions automatically. A percentage goes to emergency savings until they hit their target. A percentage goes to investments every month, regardless of market conditions. A percentage goes to spending so they never feel deprived. This automation removes emotion from the equation entirely. They're not constantly making decisions about whether to save or spend. The system handles everything, and they focus on earning more money to feed the system. Second, they understand the hierarchy of financial priorities. Emergency fund first, but not forever. Once you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, you stop obsessing over your savings account and start focusing on investments. You don't keep adding to cash beyond your emergency fund because excess cash is a liability, not an asset. Third, they think in decades, not months. Revenge savers are trying to fix immediate anxiety about money. Wealthy people are building systems that will make them rich over time. Revenge savers are playing a short-term emotional game. Wealthy people are playing a long-term mathematical game, and mathematics always wins over emotions. The psychology behind revenge saving is understandable. When you've made financial mistakes, when you're anxious about economic uncertainty, when you feel like you've lost control, extreme saving feels like the solution. It feels responsible. It feels mature. But feeling good about your money decisions and making good money decisions are two completely different things. Here's what's really happening in 2025. A generation who grew up during recession, lived through pandemic disruption, and are now facing inflation anxiety are making financial decisions based on trauma, not strategy. They're choosing the illusion of security over the reality of wealth building. They're optimizing for peace of mind in the short term at the expense of financial freedom in the long term. So what's the alternative? How do you escape the revenge-saving trap? First, understand the difference between emotional money management and systematic money management. Emotional money management is reactive. You overspend, so you oversave. Systematic money management is proactive. You decide on your financial priorities in advance and automate them. Here's the wealthy person's approach to money in 2025. Build your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of expenses, but don't go beyond that. Once your emergency fund is complete, redirect your saving energy into investments. Start with index funds if you're a beginner. Set up automatic monthly transfers so you're investing consistently regardless of market conditions. Keep some money flowing to lifestyle so you never feel deprived. The goal isn't to live like a monk. The goal is to get rich while enjoying your life. Wealthy people aren't miserable. They've found the balance between saving for the future and enjoying the present. Stop thinking about money as something to be saved and start thinking about it as something to be deployed. Every dollar you earn is a soldier in your wealth-building army. Some soldiers guard your emergency fund. Some soldiers attack the markets. Some soldiers handle your lifestyle. But no soldiers sit around doing nothing. Stop revenge saving. Start forward saving. Stop playing defense with your money. Start playing offense. Stop optimizing for feeling safe today. Start optimizing for being wealthy tomorrow. The choice you make right now will determine whether you spend the next decade watching your savings account lose purchasing power or watching your investment portfolio gain real wealth. The wealthy aren't smarter than you. They simply understand that cash is not king. Compound growth is king. They understand that the biggest financial risk isn't losing money in the markets. It's not putting money in the markets. If you want the complete systems that the wealthy use to automate their money, build their wealth, and escape financial anxiety forever, join the Luxona Vault. Inside, you'll get the exact frameworks and proven systems that separate the wealthy from everyone else. Link in the description. The revenge-saving trap is real. It's happening right now. It's destroying financial futures while people celebrate their savings accounts. But you don't have to fall for it. You can choose the wealthy person's approach instead. You can choose systems over emotions. You can choose growth over safety. You can choose wealth over the illusion of security. Welcome to Luxona, where millionaires are made.